Those without sight are more accurate in pitch perception. Those with autism have a higher rate of perfect pitch. Disabilities do not disable. Distinction between impairment and disability. Impairment lacks an arm or a leg. Disability lacks accommodation, creating barriers that make impairment negative. Ramps. An individual who does not have the use of both legs. Their impairments do not inhibit them from entering the building. Building with a stair entrance, not designed with impairment in mind. This inhibits them from entering. Disabling. Modified instruments. An individual who does not have the use of both arms is very musical. Their impairments do not inhibit them from playing. Violin. Not designed with impairment in mind. This inhibits them from playing. Disabling. Disabilities do not disable. It is important to follow not only law, strive, shift responsibility, modify, devise, alter. A small price to pay to fulfill potential. So that poem was made completely out of words and phrases from the article titled Disabilities in the Classroom by Joseph Abramo. I found it to be very explorative of some of the issues faced by students with disabilities, and more importantly, what makes them issues in the first place. And that's what stood out to me, the idea that a lot of disadvantages endured by those with a disability are consequences of a lack of accommodation. So in my poem, I wanted to first establish the fact that students who struggle with impairment are more enabled in certain ways. For example, the sacrifice of sight over time naturally will lead to a better sense of sound and touch. Disability doesn't stem from the impairment itself, but from neglectful design. So I drew the parallel between architecture and music, using repetition to emphasize this point. Afterwards, the conclusion summarizes the call to action stated in the article with my own sort of emphasis on potential, because potential is important. It paints the future, and potential not being fulfilled, let alone due to a faulty system, as opposed to the individual themselves, is tragic to me. And that's my poetry and voice response to disability in the classroom. Hope it was interesting. Thanks.